Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's me, the Lou D.O. Double G, and today we're talking about the final chapter of My Hero Academia. Now, I'd like to preface something before I start. This is not a full My Hero Academia review as a story. This is my review of the chapter and the conclusion of 10 years. So let's get started. There have been a lot of manga and animes ending lately. I feel like it kind of took off with Naruto, and then it kind of has had a lot of really big mangas and things like that. And from there, we've had like Fire Force recently, had My Hero, Demon Slayer recently ish, and the list goes on. Attack on Titan is another one, and all of these mangas have had things that like I really loved and really didn't like. However, the king of terrible endings, Attack on Titan, is at the pinnacle of the worst ending in my opinion. And My Hero Academia is not much better. It is better. It is better, but not by much. My initial feelings about it are that after 10 years and us hanging out with Deku, getting to know him, seeing his dream, understanding what it is he wants from life, only for him to get this lackluster ending, this kind of spit on ending, feels less than ideal for me. I can't help but feel like there should have been more and there could have been more. But let's just talk about the chapter as a whole. The first thing I want to say is we got to see how everybody's doing after 8 years. So we see the whole thing with Ochako and her trying to like hone herself in after taking in the Blood Lady's blood to live, right? If you haven't read the chapters, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. However, we had that happen, and Deku's like, "We're all in this together." Blah 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 blah. Anyway, so then we move forward, and now we're 8 years past that point. We're hearing that Bakugo and Todoroki are also pro heroes, and they're worried about things like their ratings and things like that, and interacting with fans and blah blah blah, which is really really cool. And that was something that Deku and friends were all looking forward to have to worry about. So it's nice to see those guys like kind of fulfilling their dreams in a sense, right? Or like there's a pathway to success for them in finding those dreams. And we see All Might still stomping around for some reason. And I gotta say, the fact that All Might has been around this whole time kind of, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm comparing it to like Naruto, how Jiraiya died, or like literally Gandalf dying or like whatever, right? I mean, obviously Gandalf comes back. We're not talking about Lord of the Rings right now. As you can tell, I am sporting my Aragorn bootleg T-shirt. But there are countless more examples of the mentor dying that I think maybe not everyone agrees with me, but that I think was kind of missing here. We did have Sir Night Eye die, but that wasn't really the same thing though. I think we were missing some kind of impactful thing there, and I don't know. My opinion, I don't know why I say I don't know. I know. My opinion is that All Might needed to die, or there had to be a driving force there that we were kind of just missing. At least, like, from a story point. But regardless, All Might is here. And obviously, so is Deku. And so the big question mark is what is Deku doing after 8 years? Because we knew that he was working off the embers of One for All, right? For a little bit, and now obviously that's not sustainable. But we find out that Deku is in fact a teacher at UA guiding the students. And you can tell right off the bat that there's a little bit of resentment there that he wishes he could also be a pro hero. And he's telling himself, like, hey, what I'm doing is good too. Like, I'm inspiring the youth and blah, 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 blah. Well, as the chapter goes on, there's a really great moment where he kind of has an epiphany, right? And he's like, you know what? As much as I want to be out there, this is my place. This is what I was meant to do, right? And it's very different from when we first started with him when he was a kid and he was like, the only way to be a hero is to have quirks, right? And now he's quirkless once again, and he's like, well, I had my time in the sun, and like now it's time for others to do that, right? And I thought that sentiment was beautiful. Still not my first choice for the ending, but I would have been like, okay, Like, I understand the story that Kohei is trying to tell, who is the mangaka. I can't quite remember his last name right now, and you would think that I would write that down for this video. I'd be like, I understand the story they're trying to tell. Do I wish Deku remained with powers? Yes, but I get it. Well, as Deku was having this realization and coming to this understanding within himself, the manga's about to end. There's the end thing that's coming up. All Might's like, wait, and he like breaks the fourth wall and then like crushes the end thing, and is like, hey, Bakugo led this team of people to try and get this thing for you. It's a suit that was able to grab data from our fight with, One for All and all of that stuff, or All for One, excuse me. I always get those confused. And here you can use it like the same way as you did for One for All. And he's like, oh, what? And so it ends with Deku having this suit that gives him the ability to fight alongside his friends and be the pro hero he wants to be, and all of those things. Now, it feels like there's still no closure to me, and I've kind of let it weigh on me for a week, a little less than a week, to kind of wrap my head around it. I've read it a few times, and my feelings about it are that it feels weak. It feels like a bit of a cop out. It almost feels like they were like, oh, people are mad that he doesn't have a quirk. Let me just like throw that in there real quick. If it doesn't feel full, like I feel like I'm still hungry from it. I'm still very hungry. This ending didn't make me feel satiated like at all. I could go into a deep dive as to why I think that this is weird. I think weird is a really good word. And Bakugo's and Midoriya's relationship and why Bakugo would do that. I could see how it would be like a friendship thing, but also they're always trying to one up each other, and so now there is a clear line for Bakugo to be up higher than Midoriya. So it's just all around super like not interesting. It's just not interesting. It doesn't make me feel full. Like I want to feel like Midoriya, like I want to stand up and cheer for him, and this makes me be like, what? Huh? What are we doing? I mean, I could sit here and say that I don't like it and all of that stuff, and I don't. But something that I was kind of hoping would happen, and I theorize would happen, is that if you remember at the beginning, One for All's brother's quirk, they thought he was quirkless, was the ability to pass on quirks, and that's what happened, and that's why they're able to move along the powers between all of the users, right? Well, I kind of assumed that Deku would that was some foreshadowing for Deku, and that he had a quirk, a useless quirk that would be very circumstantial to that moment, that would enable him to get his powers. What that quirk would have been or could have been, I have no clue. But ultimately, I do feel like Deku deserved to have a quirk, like a real quirk. And even if it was like for some reason he was a late bloomer and got a quirk out of nowhere, I don't know, that feels also a little too weird. Actually, scratch that idea. But I do feel like he deserved to have a real quirk. This ending does not feel right to me. It feels weird. And again, I want to reiterate that my feelings about this ending are not my feelings about the manga as a whole, right? If you'd love to see a video on that, I'd actually really love to put that together and do a full manga review of My Hero, because I imagine that my overall review of My Hero would be a lot higher than the ending, right? Just because there's a lot of great things about the show that I think are really worth talking about, especially like the societal conversations between hero and villain, and also in like normal people, and there's a lot of like Watchmen-y kind of things there that I think are worth talking about and that I think are very important, especially during the Stain arc and things like that. However, as in the conversation of the ending, it just didn't sit right with me, man. It didn't. And perhaps I need some more time, and maybe if I do a whole series review on it, I will have a different opinion at that time. But right now, this ending is not certified crispy, man. It's like moist and like mushy. Like when you get like a Cheeto Puff that a toddler's been holding in their hand and tries to give to you to eat, because they're trying to be nice and like share with you, but then like you're like, oh, this is dirty, gross. That's just kind of how I feel. Cheeto Puff, toddler Cheeto Puff rating from me Not as bad as Attack on Titan. I'm gonna shit on Attack on Titan as much as I can whenever I can. Okay, love you, bye. Oh, let me know if you want me to do the full My Hero Academia review. I'd love to hear if you guys want me to do that. Also, thoughts about the ending. I want to hear what y'all think about it as well. You can find me at the LuDOG956 over on Instagram, TikTok, and my hero, and my anime list. Jesus. Bye bye.